People get hypocritical on both sides of the argument, right? People get hypocritical, they get blinded, they ignore all the facts, they ignore all of the evidence. They only pay attention to what fits their agenda, their narrative, and what they want to believe. They don't want to be objective about it, right? They don't want to make it fair, right? They want to scream and yell and shout for fairness and equality and all this other stuff, but when it comes down to it, they don't want that. They don't want it to be fair. They want it to be in their favor. They want the advantage so that they can do with that.
And let me touch on this too. I keep seeing like certain comments and certain posts that people put up, and they say, well, with Black Lives Matter, when they say that we're not trying to say that Black lives only matters, but you are. That's literally what you're saying out your mouth. You saying Black Lives Matters, and you saying that you're not saying that you're any different from anybody else. But if you what about the kids and the people in other countries that are starving, that are hungry, that's getting killed by 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 people in other countries? Like, what about their lives? Like, it's not only happening in America where it's unfair and injustice. Like, people say that they care about everyone, but you're not seeing the kids in Africa being posted like that anymore about them being hungry, having less health care and stuff like. You're not seeing any of that stuff on TV and pushing that agenda no more. But it's all lives that matters, and I feel like when you say Black Lives Matters, you saying that group needs to be publicized more than anybody else, and it's nothing no one else can say to me to argue with that, because I know that's what you're saying. And black people, we're not even the majority in America for one. And with that said, so whites are getting killed more by cops, by each other, and by other people more. So what about those lives? What about those lives?
Mhm. Yeah, no, you're right. And again, that goes back to people want to preach equality and fairness, but at the same time, they have a selfish undertone with it. They don't really mean that. They're trying to be selfish about it. They want the advantage. They don't want to be fair. They don't want equality. They don't want it same across the board. It sounds good, but when it comes down to it, that's not really what they mean. They want an advantage now.
And just like Love said, like, you screaming Black Lives Matter in public, but when we go back to the hood, we got mothers and daughters and fathers and sons that know each other, that don't talk, live right down the street from each other, or live very close to each other, don't even talk any of that stuff. But Black Lives Matter. When does it matter? When does it matter? When another race is involved? Because for what I seen when as me growing up in my areas, I didn't see too much Black Lives Matter. I seen a lot of hatred growing up. So that narrative of Black Lives Matter is just to push another agenda. And I feel like the black people they have been used for years and years now just for a vote, and they just can't wake up and see that the Democratic Party is using them for a vote, man. They come around every 4 years. It's every 4 years they come around. After that, you don't hear nothing else from them, man. And I'm not saying I'm better. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but what I'm saying is do your own research. You can't go off what you was taught. You make your own choice in whatever you choose to believe, and you base that decision off facts and off common sense and logic. You don't base it off what you was taught as a kid.
Right. But to touch on what Love was saying, like he said, we can't take care of other people until we can take care of ourselves. And when I hear that, I think of it starts in the home, right? It starts in the home
True,
life. It starts
true.
with your family. It starts with how you are in the house and how you raise your kids or how you are for all that. Hey, that translates to how in the outside world. If you can control what you can control inside your home and you take care of your little circle, your little team, your little family, then and everybody does that, hey, it'll be all right. But you got to
If
start
you
with
te-
yourself. Look at yourself, look at your home, look at your family, and that's kind of where it starts. And then they can go on from there.
if you teach your kids respect, and in the end they don't use it, then you can say that you did your job. But if you introducing them to be a victim and telling them that the odds against them already and they got to work extra hard for that's a lie. That's a lie. I never was placed in this situation where I had to work harder than anybody else around me, and if I did, I was not aware of it because it seemed like it was the same. I'm not saying that people don't have special privileges than other people, because it probably is, but that's around the whole world. That's just not a particular race. And just like I made a comment the other day, like, in any country where it's majority of one race, it's gonna seem like they're more in charge because it's more of them. and that's common sense. Like just like South Africa right now, like they kind of push like the white people out of there, and the blacks literally down there done took over South Africa. So that's a prime example of where it's more people of one race, more than likely they're gonna be in charge of higher positions and stuff like that. And I think that's just part of where you at that time. What you say?
Yeah, no, you're right. And then absolutely. And even when you talk about population, you talk about numbers and shit like that. You're not talking about percentages at this point. You're just talking about population numbers, right? So when we spit the facts talking about all white people who get killed more than this, they have more of this, more of this. Yes, because they are a majority. Yes, they have the population numbers. But until recently, literally just until a few years ago, who was the second majority? Black people. Black people were the second majority. So right under the white people, boom, the majority, right under them, right next was black people until the last few years.
And
Now
tell me
the
this.
Hispanics are
And,
just
and,
above them now with the immigration and all that coming to America. They're just above them now, just until a few years ago. Before that, they was underneath them. Black people was the
and
second
tell me this.
majority.
My thing is this. So basically, what we saying, white people majority in America, right? With knowing that alone, how come a race that's 12.3, maybe 12.4 of the population kills each other more than the race that has more people in there in that country? How does that happen?
Start.
It's more of this race and less of this race, but this race kill their people and other people way more than any other race.
That's a good question. I mean, people, they're gonna say poverty plays a part into it. I agree, it plays a part into it. All the whole environment plays a part into it. The culture, the environment, what's accepted, what's not accepted, all that stuff. How you're raised, how you're taught, all those things. The whole environment plays a part into that. And does it make it right? No. Are you a product of your environment? Absolutely. But you can go above that. You don't have to be that, right? You don't have to fit inside that little bubble, that little circle or whatever. Nah, like you can grow outside of that. You don't have to be the typical whatever you think it is. No, you can go outside of that. Do your own thing. Be your own man. Go your own path. And like you said before, you're not really the only person hindering you or limiting you is yourself, right? There's nobody holding you back. It's all on you. It's all on you. How hard do you want it? What do you want to do, right? So
and, and to add to that, even with that said, I don't care how hard you work for something. If it ain't meant for you, it ain't meant for you. If it's meant for you, it's meant for you. And that's my logic on that too. Like I don't care how hard you work in some situation. If it's not meant for you, it's not meant for you. And you can't for something that's not meant for you. You can't blame it on racism or other people. No, maybe that just wasn't for you. You got another plan in life. You know.